The crisp fall wind sliced through Willow Creek like a knife, carrying the scent of harvested cornfields and distant rain. Sarah Wilkins stood at the window of her modest farmhouse, her heart skipping a beat as a lone rider appeared on the dusty county road. At 48, she was no stranger to hardship, widowed for a decade, running the place alone since her son, Dylan, left years ago to chase work on the oil rigs down south. But the man approaching wasn't just any stranger. It was Ethan Carter, the kid she'd practically raised after his folks died young. He'd been 14 then, sleeping on her porch when times got rough, eating at her table like family. Now, at 30, he was back after 7 long years, and something in his slumped posture told her this wasn't a happy reunion. What burden was he carrying, and why did her pulse quicken at the sight of him, stirring feelings she'd long buried? Ethan's boots thudded heavily on the wooden steps as he knocked. Sarah opened the door, and time froze. The scrawny teen was gone, replaced by a rugged man with broad shoulders, a stubbled jaw, and eyes shadowed by a cowboy hat. His shirt clung to a frame hardened by roughneck life on the rigs. "Sarah," he said, his voice gravelly from dust and regret. She stepped aside, leading him to the kitchen where so many memories lingered. "It's Dylan," he finally muttered, avoiding her gaze. "There was an accident on the rig. Explosion. He didn't make it." The words hit like a gut punch. Sarah staggered, clutching the table. Ethan caught her, his arms strong around her waist. Through the tears, she felt his warmth, his heartbeat racing against HRSA forbidden spark in the midst of agony. For days, grief consumed her. Sarah holed up in Dylan's old room, surrounded by his faded baseball cards, the fishing rod he'd loved, and letters she'd sent him over the years. Ethan stayed, quietly tending the farm, fixing the leaky barn roof, chopping wood for winter, bringing her soup she barely touched. He didn't push, he just was there, a steady presence amid the storm. One evening, as she clutched Dylan's letters, sobbing over how she'd taught him to stand tall and fight for what's right only for it to cost him his life, Ethan found her. They sat in silence at the kitchen table, sharing coffee from Dylan's favorite mug. When she leaned against his shoulder, exhausted, a flicker of life stirred in her, battling the guilt. Was it wrong to feel this pull toward the man who'd survived when her boy hadn't? As weeks passed, the air between them thickened with unspoken tension. Sarah caught Ethan watching her as she worked in the garden, his eyes tracing the curve of her hips in her faded jeans. He'd brush past her in the narrow hallway, his hand lingering a second too long on her arm. One night, over a simple dinner of stew and cornbread, she tried to lighten the mood. "Remember when Dylan bet you couldn't sneak into old Mr. Harlan's orchard for those peaches?" Ethan chuckled, his first real laugh since arriving. "And you made me march right back and confess. I was mad as hell." He paused, his gaze intense. "But it wasn't the peaches. It was because Dylan got to call you Mom, and I didn't." The confession hung heavy. Sarah's breath caught. "Ethan, that's not right. I was like a mother to you." He shook his head. "Not to me. Not since I was 17, seeing you in that sundress at the county fair. I knew then it wasn't family I wanted." Her cheeks flushed, a heat pooling in her belly that she fought to ignore. Society would call it scandalous a woman her age with a man young enough to be her son. But Ethan stepped closer, his calloused hand cupping her face. "Tell me you don't feel it too." She should have slapped him, sent him packing. Instead, she whispered, "I do, but we can't." That night, sleep evaded her. From her window, she watched him outside, shirtless under the moon, swinging an axe at a stump in frustration. His muscles gleamed with sweat, every swing a display of raw power. Their eyes met, and he strode inside, knocking softly on her door. "I can't fight this anymore," he said, entering. In her nightgown, she felt exposed, vulnerable and desired. "This is crazy," she breathed as he closed the distance. "People will judge." "Let them," he growled, his lips brushing her ear, sending shivers down her spine. When he kissed her, it was fire desperate, consuming. His hands explored her body, igniting needs she'd denied for years. They tumbled onto the bed, but hoofbeats outside shattered the moment. Riders approached fast. Sarah's blood ran cold. It was Sheriff Harlan, flanked by Mrs. Whitaker of town gossip and Pastor Ellis. They pounded on the door, demanding entry. Ethan yanked on his shirt, standing firm beside her as she opened up. Mrs. Whitaker's face twisted in disgust. "Disgraceful. A woman your age seducing a boy you raised." "He's not a boy," Sarah shot back, chin high. "And he's not my son." Pastor Ellis frowned. "Sarah, this isn't you. Grief's clouding your judgment." Ethan bristled. "She's not being taken advantage of. I love her." The words exploded like a bomb. Silence fell, then outrage. Sheriff Harlan ordered Ethan out, but Sarah refused. "This is my home. He stays." As they left, whispers of horror and unnatural echoed. The town turned overnight. Neighbors shunned her at the feed store. The diner refused service. Sarah felt the sting of betrayal from folks she'd known forever, people who'd praised her strength after her husband's death, now branded her a sinner. The boiling point came that evening. Ethan headed to the Rusty Nail Bar for supplies, but Sarah knew better was spoiling for a fight. Shouts and crashes drew her there. Inside, Ethan faced 3 burly locals, bloodied but unbowed. "Call her a whore again," he snarled, landing a punch that felled one. Another swung a bottle. Ethan dodged, countering with a rib-cracking blow. The third backed off but taunted, "Loving your mommy, huh? Sick." Ethan's eyes went dead. He grabbed the man by the throat, slamming him against the bar. "She's the woman I love, and I'll kill anyone who says otherwise." Sheriff Harlan burst in, gun drawn. "Let him go." Ethan released him, turning to the crowd. "You hypocrites! You cheat on your spouses, dodge taxes, lie in church, but a widow finds happiness, and you crucify her? I'm 30, a grown man. If you can't handle that, that's your damn problem." He stormed out, taking Sarah's hand amid glares. Back home, wounds bandaged, doubt crept in. "I ruined everything," Ethan said. Sarah shook her head. "You fought for me." But reality hit. No buyers for the farm now. Isolation total. Ethan knelt. "Marry me. We'll head to Oregon, start a homestead. I've got savings from the rigs." Tears welled. "I'm too old for kids, set in my ways." "I don't care. Do you love me?" "Yes," she admitted. "Then that's all." They packed essentials, Dylan's letters, her late husband's photo, and left at dawn on the bus to Lincoln, then west. Willow Creek faded behind, a prison of judgment. In Oregon, they'd be just Sarah and Ethan Carter, building a life free of whispers. As the miles rolled by, Sarah squeezed his hand, regrets melting into hope. No more loneliness, only love, hard-won and true. They married quietly in Portland, bought land, and thrived within working cattle, Sarah tending a garden that bloomed brighter than ever. Years later, surrounded by friends who saw them as an equal, she knew she'd chosen right. Happiness wasn't in pleasing others. It was in following her heart. What do you think? Was Sarah right to defy the town and chase her happiness? Or should she have played by society's rules? Share your stance in the comments below. Let's debate this. Your thoughts could spark an amazing discussion.